Dyer, if Eric rushes on Dyer, fish gets in his way. Pretty safe, okay? You can bait a person to pull the 2-on-1 into where your pool's dominance is gonna shine. Cool?
Why wouldn't you have Zale post up on the shield and pressure that side?
That actually is my
So
last
a heavy 2-on-1 with you guys in the three?
No, have him post up here against fish.
So
The red on the shield.
this way.
Yep.
This would be a good. You wouldn't
get
want to do
aggressive.
this with a spear, obviously. But with the regiment, it's right your shield. So then
yeah.
you give up your pole.
But she's gonna get that. And
I feel fine guarding her.
Well, I can guard from here.
Okay, so
But it's
I
another
just,
reset.
for the sake of simplicity and effectiveness of which types of weapons go where, this is good to point out as a final scenario to this mix-up, because a red on the outside always has a safer angle. As long as Rift advances with Zale, Zale can press as much energy as he wants to put into this side. That's relatively evenly matched, and Rift keeps him alive. They're essentially trying to make a 2-on-1 here while Dyer doesn't do anything. Or if she gets sloppy, he steps a stab over there and it's a 2-on-1 smash fast on push. Enough, make sense? Okay, so I'm gonna get in to more specifics. We're gonna talk about creating the death triangle. We're gonna start in a microcosm, the small group, and that is a 3-on-1. So let's say we're gonna take Rift as the one. Everyone else, thank you for your time. Sweeper off the field. I need 3 volunteers fresh. Don't care about your weapon styles. At least a couple, mostly board or single or slow. We're talking about, yeah, there we go. Here's a common enough breakdown. 3 versus Rift. We're talking the scraps at the end of a big melee, okay? Things digress. Some people have taken some injuries. We might start to play later with hypotheticals if these guys are down on legs or not. Regardless of who the 3 are, whether they're 2-month noob or 7-year vet, even if they're fighting a strong opponent, if these guys think positioning and maneuvering first, they can very much have the capacity to kill an opponent no matter how strong individually. So what I'm suggesting here with this technique called the death triangle is these guys constantly having the vigor of their approach to create a triangle around the singular target that no matter where he moves, without even swings being thrown yet, Rift will die. So essentially to make this happen, some people call it Pac-Man mouth or creating triangles. Your wide sides go far, and your center has to keep a press on while that's going on, or Rift will have the capacity to dart to one of the flanks. Okay, and that's probably his best move, is, yeah, get the guy who's the easiest punch out, or who's the strongest threat who's gonna kill him the next 3 seconds anyway.
Or leg.
Or, yeah, or leg and move if you can, and now you just changed a lot of the battle board. They can't create the triangle. They can create a, like, Pac-Man mouth with its juice falling out. So, everyone understand the death triangle? Rift, I actually want you to step up a bit. I want to make sure on frame you guys are back.
And then you two take one step past me.
And set, go, create the triangle. And, yeah, there we go. At best, he's going to Simo in on somebody, but he's going down. Everyone understand the death triangle concept? Let's try this. Rift, pick a buddy who wants to be a volunteer. There you go.
Keelik, having fun with it. There we go. Let's do that.
Can the triangle still be created?
Yeah.
How?
Keep them in the center.
Show me. Go. Okay, yep, there we go. Is that's a realistic enough situation, yes? Even if there is risk and disadvantage to a bunch of swords going against a decent border, and that's how it transpired, right? Damage was exchanged on both sides, but at the end, everything was still closing around the smaller team. They were drowning in the mouth of that open wedge. Does that make sense? Okay, so I don't care if the team's now, here, give me 2 more volunteers. Let's make it 3-on-4. There we go. How do we create parallel of the death triangle. It might be the death diamond, it might be the death swirling circle. I don't care, but again, the principle is you're circumscribing your enemy. And you maneuver to that point before you're throwing a lot of shots. And that's the huge thing that must go not unspoken. If Asher just comes up to fish and starts swinging, now we're matching it line to line. And it's not maximizing what the team outnumbering is capable of. So if Asher comes to fish and then either lures him into him and Bogan, or comes to fish and says, oh, I'm going around you, instantly he's created a much better situation for his team. Is everyone with me on that? Yeah.
I feel bad for interrupting, but and actually, point of fact, if you skate far, Asher, and fish goes to deal with you, hey, look, this is the triangle we just got screwed by.
So there's a death triangle within a death triangle.
Death triangleception.
Okay, so check this out. This is actually more scraps at the end of the field. Keelik's leg is gone. Bogan has still had that arm cut off. You got a pierced arm, and you're down a leg. Okay, I mean, end of big melee, this is totally possible, but can you still create more or less the circumscribe? Yeah, there we go. And even if you're on the ground, you gotta take oomph with it, okay? You have to even more consciously think, how can I still be effective on the ground? With that, everybody up. Go back to the same limbs, impaired. What can you do to make it more advantageous when you do have gimps on your team? How do you operate best? There we go.
You don't necessarily have to go behind. There was enough space where you could have taken that front.
Okay, now pause. But good point for both teams. Asher, can you step that way for a second, just for case in point? If your center man, or more or less your pivot point, is on their leg, that seems to be best. They have the best chance of being protected from either side. Even though, I mean, they can't necessarily go without getting flanked. But yeah, Riff can come over, where Keelik still has a better chance against this if his two buddies put a hard press on that. Does this make sense? What's another thing that the outnumbering team has more capacity to do?
I can just wait.
This microcosm. Okay. So,
One of us can sort of throw a sacrifice. Like if I'm down an arm, stand in an arm, I can belly flop on someone else.
sure.
Get murdered, but make openings for these guys to kill guys.
Right. Even if you're a body, even if you're more or less a zombie body, you can still, you got a shield kick, you got a one-shot shield for a buddy, you got I'm just gonna press and do floppy dead fish bash on fish, and then Asher's gonna kill him. Okay, that was worth it. Fair trade, right? Think about the worthy enough trade, especially if that's coming down to end of scraps of the field. Okay, whatever you do to end the fight. Again, if you're disadvantaged, actually Keelik's dead. Now it's more like a 2-on-4. Here's the answer for everything. Gimp and go. Okay. Okay, they got one down. If these guys stay mobile and think gimp and go mentality, they can make the death triangle. If one of these guys comes and gets a leg on Asher, for instance, now this team went from doing great to not so good real quick. Because Riff and Fish, actually, they can, yeah, what's Riff gonna do? Okay, now, pause. There's two things that can happen here. One, they kind of started a wolf packing motion. They put these guys in the center of a swirling toilet bowl. You guys feel me? And anyone who chases after Rift galloping sideways gets hit by Fish galloping sideways a couple paces behind him. Even if Bogan's got the blocks. Oh, he's got the side cut? Yep. And the swirl continues, and essentially making a 2-on-1 that rotates in an L shaped, or that, again, that Pac-Man wedge around pinpoint opponent, galloping sideways around them. People feel this?
Yes.
So even if you're the outnumbered team, your mobility and your positioning make the win or not. Cool?
That was the thing I was going to say.
You want to